This is a very important video if you are in HVAC, roofing, solar, or pretty much any other home improvement business. And this is related to how to get the most out of your ad spend slash how to lower the cost, your cost per lead or your cost per, estimate, basically. The biggest problem a lot of roofers and people in solar and HVAC run into is that ads can get very pricey if you don't have the right strategies in place to ensure that you're not spending too much on ads. Whether it's Google ads or Facebook ads, you really want to have a dialed in process to make sure that your cost per lead doesn't get too crazy. Because if your competitor is basically getting higher quality leads than you and they're getting them for cheaper, they essentially have a lot more leverage over you. Because I mean, getting a client for them is cheaper. They're more profitable essentially if you guys have basically the same service. So right here, I have a diagram where I'm going to break down kind of a process for you to get the most out of your ad spend. So we know that, it starts with the ad. It starts with getting attention from the homeowner that you're going for. Um, But the thing about the ads, the conversion process starts here when it comes to, um, let me backtrack. The process starts here when it comes to spending less and getting more out of your ads. So what you need to do is to make sure that you are testing different types of ads, different creatives, right? Test AI video creatives. Um, this is a really cool thing where you can literally get real looking people to do the ad for you, but it's AI. Pretty cool. Test image creatives. Test you talking to the camera about your service. Also test different ad copies as well. You want to test as much as possible to get as much data as possible into about what people are essentially going for, right? What interests them essentially. So that's what you want to do. First, you want to start off with testing. And then as you test, you'll notice that some ads are getting more clicks, some ads are getting more, maybe engagement, some ads are getting more conversions. And then from there, you double down on what works. It's really that simple to start off. But it doesn't just end there. There's more of this process. And that has to do with testing your calls to action. Where's the person going to once they end up, clicking your ad? Now, the biggest mistake people make, solar, roofers, HVAC, is that they just test like one call to action. It's like, okay, come to our website and then sign up for a free estimate. There's not really, first of all, there's not really an offer there that's that enticing. You want to dial in your offer. But at the same time as well, you want to test different calls to action. So if you're just like, okay, enter your information for a free estimate, that's so boring, you know? Especially if you're in a very competitive marketplace, people have seen that a million times. You have to get a little bit more creative with what you're offering to perk people's ears up. So test different calls to action, just like how you tested the ads to see what people resonate with more. And it's very easy to just go for the sale initially, but sometimes it's not necessarily the best route to go. Sometimes you want to do ads where you're educating people, and that's your goal. Because once they're educated, they want to learn more about your service after that. So when we talk about calls to action, you know, a lead magnet where there's a lot of education can go a long way. 10 ways to maintain your roof DIY by doing it yourself. That's like an example. Um, 3 ways to five steps to finding the best HVAC company for your home. That simple. Homeowners are curious about this stuff. The right people will click on it, go through it, and then from there, before they even get that document, though, you should be capturing their information. And then once you have their information, you can market to them through emails, through text messaging, and such. You could ask, hey, we saw that you were interested in our asset that we advertised. Do you have any questions about your roof, or do you have any questions about your AC? Things like that. Now, another one, this is a more common one, obvious one, people test their website slash landing page. That's pretty cool. Definitely do that. But even that can have different things you can test, different headlines you can test, different calls to action you can test. Adding a video or not adding a video to your landing page, where to add your calendar. Should you make it a funnel where maybe you capture information first and then they watch your video and then they schedule a meeting with you and then an agent calls and pre-qualifies them for that meeting? Or maybe they go to your website, they enter their information right then and there. You have an AI caller calling them up to qualify them. So there's a lot of testing there. Another thing with calls to action is, of course, forms, right? Simple platform forms like Google Forms, Facebook Forms that you add as a call to action. But even this as well, you can test different, you can collect different pieces of information to qualify people on these forms. And then from there, you can, at the end of the form, you can have a link to go to a page where maybe you're talking about past clients that were happy, right? Where that lead can go through your testimonials, learn a bit about your company, see the ROI of things, and then from there they can book a time. Let's say they don't book a time, well, you have an AI agent that calls up the lead to book them in for a time. So there's so many ways to effectively market, but if you're just being a one-trick pony and you're just like, okay, let me run some ads, let me just put my homepage as the call to action, you know, it's no wonder that your cost per lead is going to just skyrocket up. It's going to be so expensive to advertise. And it doesn't have to be as expensive as you might think. Now, with all of these, calls to action, we go down here to, and I've alluded to this, a lead nurturing system. It's just so important to have a lead nurturing system in place. Text, calling, email, you got to have these systems in place. If you don't, you're losing out on so many leads because just because someone doesn't buy now, that doesn't mean they won't buy 2 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now. Especially for long-term leads in your database, reach out to them once a month in an automated way. This can make you so confident that not only are new people coming into your business in terms of interest, but you have all these people that you've marketed to in the past that are still, you're still being top of mind. So when they're like, oh, this thing broke in the house, or oh, I need a repair, or oh, I need a new roof, people just go with the first thing that pops in mind. That's why I say when a new lead comes into your system, make sure you're following up immediately with an AI caller. Because if you do that, you're the first one that contacted them. You're the first one they got information from. And then let's say they shop around, they talk to 3 other companies in a span of 2 weeks or a week per se. Well, if you've already made about 3 touch points with them, these other companies only made one, they're going to go with you. So having systems to nurture leads is so, so crucial. Most of your competitors don't have this. There's a high chance you don't. If you need help with this, definitely reach out to me. You could email me, jeremy@dufmedia.com, or you could message me on Facebook, or you could leave a comment below if you're watching this on YouTube. But this system is so simple, um, yet so effective. So effective. And there's a high chance that there may be some technical barriers as to why you haven't implemented something like this. If there has been, then literally just talk to an expert, talk to a professional, talk to someone that has been doing this for years. You know, doesn't have to be me. It can be me because that can help, but this really needs to be implemented because it just makes your ads so much less expensive, and you just get so much more out of things. And of course, with new leads and new customers, you have to have systems to be able to, you know, make that efficient in terms of serving them. Because the last thing you want is all this new business coming your way, but the service takes a hit because of that. And that can be something I can help you with too. Um, our team has a lot of protocols in place for things like that. Hope you enjoyed this video. Watch out for my next one.